Right, hi guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to the shed, which is absolutely crammed with crap at the moment. However, I am here today to swap the parts off my Giants onto this. This is my Planet X Titanium Hurricane. This is more an endurance model, so I've been having a few issues and I've gone for something a bit more relaxed and a bit more heavy duty for me, because I'm piling on the weight at the moment, so the Giant's just not really up to my standard of weight, or I'm not light enough for the standard of weight for the Giant, to put it simply that way. Too fat. But where we're at with the build is I cut the steerer, fitted the headset, I've put on a Zipp stem, I've got a data carbon seat post which is going to be on this build at the moment. And what I'm going to do is just put you guys in like a stop motion, maybe add a bit of music, and let's see how she looks when she's done. Catch you at the end. Right, hi guys. I'm a bit of an impasse because unfortunately I've gone and put the seat post on, and the seat post clamp has broke completely through, so that old seat post that I was hoping would come in handy isn't going to help. And none of my cables from the TCR reach on this, because this is a good 20mm longer overall, and everything is just like 1.5 inches kind of too short. But there she is at the moment, and that's where I'm at. I'm going to order some bits in before I can do any more. Anyway, take care, and I won't put this out until I've got all the parts. So I don't know what I'm saying, take care, catch you in a minute. Or in a week. Right then guys, so I said I'd get back to you in a week or so. However, life got in the way and I got my cables through and I started to record me fitting them and done a few bits and bobs, and then somehow over the course of Christmas I've managed to lose 90% of the start and middle of this vlog. However, as you can see behind me, here is the new build. So what I'm going to do now is quickly take you through it and take you over a few things that I've done along the way the last few weeks since having it built. So I've now done quite a few rides on her. I absolutely love the ride position. So it's got a very similar length and reach to my TCR, but I would say with the same height at the front that my Pinarello Rock had, which in fact means that this does feel extremely like the Pinarello Rock, which anyone who knows me, knows my history, will know that that was my favourite bike. I loved riding that bike, and I had it for, I think I'd done well over 15,000 miles on it until I had a massive accident on it, and then got it repaired. But I lost faith in it and ended up sending it on to somebody who was quite happy to ride it, even though it had been repaired. So that's then. This is now. Unfortunately, she's really dirty because I went out yesterday on her. I did clean her all up yesterday in the hope to do this vlog, and then I cleaned it all up and I was like, oh my days, it's dry. It's not, well, it's not dry, the roads are wet, but it wasn't raining, and I thought, no, I need fresh air, sod it, let's go out. So today what you're having to put up with is a dirty looking bike. However, bonus of titanium, doesn't really matter. I don't have to keep on top of all of it, as long as all the bolts are nice, etc. It'll all be fine. What have I done then? So I ended up finishing the build off. I bought a load of Jaguar cables. I bought the Pro Slip cable system, which I really like of theirs. I did buy some cheap brake cable, because the cable that goes down, you can just see it under here, to the rear brake, actually goes into the frame up here. So down into the frame and comes out underneath to the rear caliper. I brought standard outer brake cable because that's all I could get hold of at the time. And I thought, oh, let's give it a go. I've got the anti-compression cabling for the front, but let's just try it on the back. Horrendous. It is night and day. I personally do not believe that any bikes with cable operated discs should be sold without the compressionless outer. One shop tried to blag me off, saying that in their feeling, compressionless outer is a waste of time. It gives you no extra power and it always blows up outwards. Well, I'm a big guy. I'm putting things usually to the maximum of their ability. So when I'm going down a hill like I was a few weeks ago on the TCR, and there's a 4x4 stopped on a blind corner and I have to haul the brakes on, 110 kilograms, TCR 8 kilograms, a bike, full lock, coming to a halt. If anything's going to split the outer cables, that would be it. And the TPR compression cables were fine. In fact, they're the same cable I've got on the front of this because the front one's fitted perfectly well. I just don't get how people use them, because as soon as I had that standard outer on, which is the coil outer, so the outer cable basically has inside a metal core that goes around, which is what used to give you the modulation, a bit of compression and feel back through the levers on rim brakes, does not work with cable operated discs. They do not work. You pull the cable and then you just got this massive spongy bit where the cable, and you can physically see, I can see the cable moving here and down here. And when you've done it, you could physically see the cable torquing up, and that's all the movements. You're putting power into compressing the outer cable, not pushing the pads into the disc. So I ended up thinking, sod it. I ordered express delivery, the proper outer cable, put it on, instantly, dink, nice feed. Now they feel like a really well set up caliper brake, but they're discs, so they don't get affected by water. Are they the power of hydraulic? No, they're not. They're 90% the power of hydraulic. I would say they're the same power as a well set up rim brake. However, you have the ability that in wet weather, yeah, they make a bit of noise, but in wet weather, they stop you all the time. You haven't got any worries about using carbon wheels. No, I haven't got to worry about putting the heat through, calipers into the rim and warping them, which at my size you're going to do. So that was my first kind of build mistake. It wasn't a mistake. It was, I took a gamble. I kind of knew, but I've never ridden cable calipers with standard outers. I've set them up, loads of them in shops, loads of them at Halfords, loads of them at Tri UK, loads of them at the Giant Centre, and I never thought about going outside and having a good go on them. Yeah, and I don't think bikes should be sold like that. But there you go, that's me. So I've ended up putting mudguards on. Now, as you can see here, this is a very 80s style mids mudguard. The way this is a SKS, is it a Blue Mall? Can't remember now. It was a long time ago I bought these, and they're meant to come all the way around and have a nice bit of metal that comes down to hold them in. However, mine had actually twisted at the back, and I tried heat on it, trying to bring it back. It had been stalled and got slightly twisted, and I couldn't do it. So I thought, blow it. All I want the front mudguard for is to help protect the headset bearings at the bottom. I have in the past run the mountain bike, just plastic ones, and put cable ties around, purely to stop 90% of the crap going up into the bottom bearing over winter. Also, my little front bit with the extender on, it comes quite far over the front here, stops that kind of spray that comes up and always covers your GPS. So that's what I've done up front. I've used something old that I had that wasn't going to work, and I've just modified it by getting a hacksaw to the back. Job done. On the back, I've got the blue males. Now, you'll see they're sat quite high. They're sat quite high because, sorry for wobbling you around, I did have a set of 32s on here, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So, the back one's fitted perfectly, no issues there. So people can ride behind me now in the knowledge that they're going to be fine. So what was my issue with the tyres? Well, Pirelli TLR 26s, I love them to bits, they're brilliant. But for me in the winter, I'm running these at about 75 PSI because of my weight and because of the size of them. Now personally, I would like to run something wider, lower pressure for grip on slippy roads. So I treat myself to a set of specialised Roubaix Pros, which are they call them the 30-32. Now if you're not sure what that means, they say 30 is the width, 32 is the height. And they've done that so that people can run a wider tyre, or is it the other way around? 30 height, 32 wide. So that people can run a wider tyre. No, it's the other way. It is height, excuse me. Its height is taller than the width. And that's so that people can get the comfort of the height, but the clearance in the frames, if their frames are lacking clearance. Right. So I set them up, and I set them up with muck off. They sealed on the rims perfectly. However, they absolutely bled. Air just flew out of them. And bizarrely, the sealant wasn't sealing the walls. So I thought, this is really odd. So overnight, they went flat, literally flat. So I'd done the trick of putting them on each side with sealant in. Wouldn't work. The sealant would not stick to the sides of the walls inside. It was almost like if you've ever seen a sheet of Gore-Tex with water on and you go like that and pour it and it just pours away instantly. It's really weird. The walls had like a wax on the inside and I couldn't get it off. And they just wouldn't hold, they wouldn't allow the sealant to seal the walls. So they bled. So then I thought, right, okay, let's just double check that it's not the rims or the sealant. So I took all the rim tape off, I re-rim taped them. I then used Stan's Race, and Stan's Race seals almost everything. Even WTB tyres, which had literally holes blown out the side of them because they're crappily made, wouldn't seal them. Again, the Stans, I pulled off a bit of the tyre, looked inside, perfectly clean, and just won't stick to it. So one of my friends has said, oh Jace, I don't run tubeless, I want some 32s, you know, for the winter coming, for my new builds. I'll use them. So he's had them at a good offer. So that's all fine and dandy. So I'm back on the 26s. However, what that means is when I had to cut all the metal supports, so if I turn you around, you can see here the two metal prongs, one there, that come down. I had to cut them down from my old bike to this bike to get them to sit on top of 32s with, you know, a nice 4mm, 5mm clearance. However, you can now see the height difference going back to the 26s. But I'm still on the outlook for tyres. Ideally, I think what I want is a set of these tyres, because they grip so damn well, in a 30. Which at the moment is really hard to do because no one is stocking them. So, let's go back through the bike, where we're at then with the build. So I've got this is just Lifeline endurance tape. It's really rough, loads of gel in there. Quite a heavy tape, you know. You're probably adding half a kilogram of weight, maybe 400, well, maybe less, maybe about 400 grams of weight, just this tape. But for the winter, it's rough, it's grippy, it's like a fabric feel, almost like a rough suede feel, which I know by summer will have absorbed everything and they go a bit smelly and horrible. But I have to say, for the price and for the comfort they give over the winter, I think I'll be scrapping these in, I don't know, spring, summer, putting something nice and comfy on. I know I can take up and store and put these back on for the winter. Very, very grippy, really nice. I've got my nice little Hope spacers up here with my Zipp SL stem, that's a 110. My Zipp Ergo service course SL bars, they're nice. Again, Shimano R7000, my favourite shape of caliper, really, idiot. My favourite shape of lever, really ergonomic, really narrow, love them. In fact, do you know what? I'm not particularly I don't mind SRAM mechanical, love SRAM mechanical group sets, but I'm not keen on the SRAM hydro levers. However, the new Rival E-Tap, that entry level one, I don't know how they've done it, but they've really gone to town on the ergonomics on their levers. They fit your hands so well. So, you know, I mean, I think if I had the money now to go out and buy the SRAM Rival just for the ergonomics and maybe a bit of electric shifting, yeah, maybe I'd give it a go and live with the DOT4 hydraulic fluid, which I hate. I hate DOT4, there's just no need for it on bikes, just stick with mineral oil. Anyway, coming back through, so we've got, that's all the front sorted. The standard forks have been fine, you know, they set up really nicely. I am using the very long Colnago 90mm expander. Let me just get a tape a minute and I'll show you why. Okay then, so the reason I'm using a 90mm expander, I'm going to get my thumb and show you where it is on here. Boom. So where my finger is on that frame, you can see that's actually down, going about just over half an inch below the headset. So that means that underneath all of this and in here where the expander clamp goes, pushes outwards, and then you've got your compression ring on your headset. So you have the bearing here and the compression ring inside, that when you put it all together, pushes down into the bearing and splays out just a little bit. and it grips onto the steerer. So this has got full support right down to here, so right down below the headset. Now for me, that makes, in my head, perfect sense. That's telling me that anywhere where there's force going through under braking, the inside of the steerer has got support pushing out against the forces pushing in. If that makes any sense, I'm sure there's a far better way for an engineer to put it than that, but that's how I'm putting it. So as I'm going on the brakes and bending it forward and bend it up, or sprinting and twist on the bars, everything I'm doing on that stem has got full support on the inside of the empty steerer tube. Because they are not that thick, guys. You know, these are steerer tubes. You know, you can see them here. I think that one's that's off the Holdsworth. Specialised one of my tarmac was quite thick, and that actually had a nice bit of fiberglass on the inside to help stop any corrosion between the alloy expander and the carbon. Because alloy and carbon, if you get salty water in there, creates a basic form of battery, I believe, so you get accelerated corrosion. So Specialised did think about that, bless them. Right, anyway, going back again. My cages, these were a gift to me off the fantastic Mr. Wong, who I haven't seen for a while, and I hope he's well. These were Specialised S-Works cages, very nice that he didn't require anymore. Now I've got my sock up here holding my seat post, but you can see there, nice Hope clamp to match my Hope spaces up front. Again in red. I've got this is a USE alloy alien seat post. Believe it or not, that seat post for an aluminium seat post hits my scales at just under 153 grams. And that's genuine 153 grams. So I think it's lighter when I got on their website by about 8 or 9 grams. There's hardly any carbon seat posts out there that are hitting that light. Fantastic bit of kit, love it. Then I've got my Specialised Arc Pro Elaston saddle, which I've done many reviews on my old channel. Sadly, not on this one, so I might have to redo a long-term one of those. I've got my mount on the back for my radar, made by the amazing Ryan, which he's now started to sell. So if you've got any details on that, please shout. Going to the back of bike, basically I've got my mudguard on, we've spoken about that. I'm running the TRP Spire SLs. So somebody said, why are they called the SLCJ? So they're not just Spire. Well, no, they use slightly higher grade of alloy for the caliper itself, and it's a little bit more machined in, not a lot. A bit like the difference between Ultegra and Dura-Ace. You know, if you look at them, they look very similar, but if you start looking at the inside, you'll see one has more bits machined out than the other. And the whole of the arm that goes over that pulls both, because these do actually have pistons, well, not pistons, they're like a cam mechanism each side, so that as you twist them, they push the brakes in on both sides, not just one side. And that's a nice kind of multi-directional carbon with a clear lacquer on. Looks quite nice. On the ends of all my little bits, I've got little red ferrule cables to go with my little red bits up here, because I like that. Coming down through, I've got the VEL wheels on the back as well, so I'm still running the Sigma Sports. The VEL, their standard model, not the super duper DT Swiss version. They've been fantastic, loving them to bits. I've got the nuke proof valve system on there, which again I like because I've mixed 2 nuke proof sets. I'll mix the black and the red up to make a nice little black and red system on there. Coming through, I've got basically down here, I don't know if you can see that, so that little red bit down there is a rotor CNC machine alloy chain catcher, just in case, and why not, because it's there. I've got an Ultegra bottom bracket on there, which I like because it actually fits in really well against basically where the frame shell comes out. It's perfectly, it doesn't stick out at all, it just molds into it really nicely. Good old standard R7000 chain set. Again, I've never broken a 105 chain set. I have fractured in the past a Dura-Ace frame set, but it was second hand to me. And I've had R8000, which I personally didn't break, but then the guy who bought it off me a year later, his had the Shimano issue where where the molds joined together, the shell has come apart. So that seems to be really its ugly headed bit. I've got the front rings are the absolute black rings, the oval ones with the nice machining on. Again, I'm running a 32/48 there to an 11/34 back, so I've got a sub 1-to-1 for climbing. You know, I'm not racing, I don't need high top end speed. I've had a few instances where I've been hitting over 50 mile an hour and things have gone a little wrong. Thankfully I haven't hit the deck, so that size of ring at the front, actually I did hit 51 mile an hour with the 48/11 on. I don't need faster than that. At that speed was when I hit the wobbles in the road and everything got a little bit choppy. Yeah, that was on the TCR, and that was a moment where I was like, holy crap. That was one of those moments of, okay, we're at the bottom now, don't do that again. And pedal wise, at the moment I'm running a set of XT pedals on there. Again, I was lucky to find these cheap because my original set of these was stolen, along with a set of DT Swiss wheels. My own fault, I left the bag out in the garden when I was working on them, and I went in to talk to one of my viewers, Ed Miller, and whilst I was in talking with him, thought, oh sod it, I can't be bothered to finish the job now, I've got to go and pick the girls up. Packed everything away, and then it was only when I was in the car going to school thinking, hang on a minute, I don't remember packing the wheel bag away with all the bits with the wheels and the bits in it that I was going to be putting onto the TCR. Come home, had a look around, thought, oh, I must have put them in one of the sheds, and I hadn't. And so I'm pretty sure in my head that somebody had just seen an opportunist thing of a nice big bag with nice spankly writing on it. I don't know if it was a delivery driver delivering to the house, saw it and thought, we'll have that. And I think they'd done that whilst I was in the house, because I don't remember packing it away, and I couldn't have left the house because it was up against the shed and the gate where I leave. So yeah, I obviously went out and somebody had it. But there you go. You know, that's the problem with life. But there we go. So that is the bike so far. I will give you a very quick kind of update on a few things. So Planet X advertises this as a 32C clearance. Now I had the 32C specialised tyres on here on these wide. Now these have got a big wide 21 and a bit internal width, so they pushed my tyres out, and I measured it on a vernier gauge to 34.5, and I still had over 5mm of clearance against the frame in any direction. So you could easily buy this bike. In the front's got clearance. They say that's got clearance for a 38 knobbly. So, and I believe that as well. So they've got loads of clearance up front. But the rear, they say 32C with mudguards. Guys, you could put cyclocross 33 tyres on here, like the Michelin Muds or whatever, and turn this into a cyclocross bike, or I suppose, a hard packed gravel bike, not an adventure gravel bike going down mountain bike tracks. That's why you buy a mountain bike, but there you go. So it's a very versatile frame. Now, the only thing I will say about that is it's not got the slower steering of a cyclocross or gravel bike. It's got I would say, sports endurance geometry. So it handles, it's not as quick and doesn't have that nippy instant feeling of the TCR, but we're not talking a million miles off. You know, we're not saying it's starting to get relaxed by any nature. It's still got a really nice precise input to it. It still feels fun on the roads, which I would say that if you thought you were going to buy this to put cyclocross tyres on and then go and do a few single tracks, I personally would be on the side of, you can do it, and I think it'll handle it happily, but just know it's going to be very responsive. And for some people, that responsiveness can be turned to making you nervous. So if you go somewhere with some steep sections, that responsiveness could kind of scare you a little bit. If you're off-road, if that's what you want to use this for. But that's not what it's designed for. They've got the Tempest for that, and the Tempest has up to about 42C clearance rear, 50 front, something like that anyway. But what I'm saying is, if you want to buy this to be your one and only bike, and you like, say, going to the New Forest and doing some of the gravel trails or fire trails around your way, and you're not going to go and start going over boulders and logs, stick a set of 33s on here, really grippy ones, you know, the right ones for the right season, and you get away with it. You could do it. So just thought I wanted to add that in there. So yeah, I also want to say Happy New Year's and Merry Christmas to everyone. Everyone who's part of this channel knows that this channel is linked to a group of mine, and sadly the group lost one of my personal close friends over Christmas. He basically had cancer, and he just couldn't keep fighting it anymore, and that was really sad for me, because I'm one of those guys that I don't relate to many people, even though I can come across and do vlogs like this quite happily. And my job, I'm back in the NHS, I'm, you know, back on the wards as a nurse and auxiliary, and I do that extremely well. I'm very selective about the people I let into my life. So to lose one of those people was a real blow, especially when they're younger than you, and that's like sad. And it was a sad loss to the group as well, because he was a brilliant friend, and it's a sad start to the year. However, talking of the year ahead, I'm not going to ramp up the amount of videos I do. I want to do the odd video here and there, bringing you kind of little things like this that I do, or projects that I do for other people. I am going to do a vlog on a ride, and the ride I'm going to try and sort out for, I think, end of spring, beginning of summer. And it's going to be a ride where it's the route I've already put out on my group. The route is about 125 miles, and it starts in Bridport Coach Park, and we go out of Bridport North, and we head out up to Langport, and we're going to head out up over the back of Bath Way and all around there, and then come back around North Dorset, across kind of the south of Somerset, back into Dorset, then head down, you know, basically back to Bridport, where we will head to West Bay in the evening for tea. Now, my thoughts are this ride is going to be a start in the morning early, and when I say early, I mean so that we can get 40 miles in and then find somewhere for breakfast at about 8-9 o'clock, and then we can ride for another 40 miles and have lunch somewhere. And then we've got the last push, which should be about 45 miles back to Bridport, hit West Bay, sit on the beach, have a chippy tea or whatever you fancy. Now, that's the nice thing about West Bay, lots of different variety of food down there now. You go back 10 years ago, it was just every kiosk was fish and chips. Now, there's still a lot of that down there. However, there's a lot of different varying qualities down there as well. So you've got kind of almost places that do, you know, fish meals that are very, you know, top of the range, kind of really posh looking meals. You've got places down there, and again, these are all takeaway. You've got places down there which are like the catch of the day, which is doing literally that morning has come out of the water, the fishermen have come in, and that's what they're serving. So big variety. I'm not a fish fan, so I always be a bit boring. I always go for a nice big long sausage covered in batter, curry sauce, all the junk that you're not meant to have. But if you've just done 125 miles with about 8,000 foot of climbing, why the hell not? So if people are interested in that, let us know below. It's something I'm going to try and do. And yeah, guys, have a good New Year's, and we'll see what 2022 has to bring us. Take care, ride safe.